AOA podcast back for another episode. Frankie C is in the house.
What's happening? It looks like a lot. It's a big Monday.
Former president, current felon Donald Trump gives his first interview since being convicted. We'll go over that. Some interesting tidbits there. Hunter Biden started his trial today, which should be all kinds of fun. We got the Brian Laundrie FBI file. So if you're not having trouble sleeping at night, wait till that story. That'll be a lot of fun for everybody.
Oh,
yeah. Fauci went in front of Congress. Alex Jones had a crying fit breakdown.
Oh.
Have you seen the guy who had his license suspended and then he
called in while he was driving to whatever?
Yeah.
He called the judge and it was like, he's like, you're driving right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear this update. I have a theory on low ticket sales. I don't know what's happening there. And this racist graduation story is developing as we speak. So we'll share all that with you and more.
Lot, man.
It's a lot. We got to move quickly, folks.
Start at the top.
Let's go. President Trump's first interview, former president, current felon.
Right.
First interview since being convicted in a New York court. And he sat down with Fox and Friends, the little weekend crew. Yeah, were you surprised it didn't go to MSNBC? I was.
Yeah, the next time he does that, he'll never sit down with them or CNN or anybody else that's not kissing his ass.
No, and I'm surprised that he agreed to the debate at CNN, too. I was a little surprised to see that. Were you? I guess he doesn't have a choice, but I don't know. I thought he would have given that to any or tried to get that to one of his Newsmaxy, Foxy places.
I don't know, because it's an opportunity for him to play the victim again. Like, oh, see how poorly they're treating me. Anytime he does anything like that, it's like, oh, I'm the victim. Everybody's against me. So if it's unfair, if it seems unfair, he's going to call it out and be like, oh, look at this. This is the mainstream media just being dicks. It's like, you can't win with this asshole.
So here's a clip from the sit down that they had with President Trump.
Oh, good.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General.
Would you
So I wanted to bring this up first because they asked him if he's elected again, would he declassify certain files, the 9/11, JFK, and Epstein. And he says I kind of did with JFK a little bit.
Right.
But my huge problem is with this particular clip in general. He was in office for 4 years.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't believe anything he says. He'll say this now, and then if he gets elected, you're never going to see any of that.
Never.
You might see more of the JFK stuff or whatever, little things here and there, but you're not going to see him declassify all the stuff they just said.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, as somebody who wants to know everything about 9/11 that we need to know, I think it's still too soon. I mean, look at how much time passed before we've got any of the Kennedy stuff that we were supposed to get, I mean, that's been delayed far before him.
Yeah, but too soon. What's too soon though?
I don't know. I feel like it just happened to this generation. I think it just needs a little bit more space. I just think it needs a little more space. A lot of the stuff that we found out about Kennedy and, World War II and all that kind of stuff came really after a long time. And I think that's kind of important.
But why get, why not bring it out? Why not bring it up sooner so that everybody knows all the information?
It's like raising children. It's like you just don't share certain things with them at certain times. You wait till they're a little older and a little bit more mature and ready to handle it. I think you have to wait for the age of the people.
Well, what do you think's going to be revealed that we can't handle?
I don't know. And I don't think it's anything super controversial. I just think that it's classified for a reason. And it just takes a little time. It's a little bit easier for us to digest as time passes. That's all.
Certain things have to be classified. Certain things are they have to be classified for a reason. So just to blindly declassify everything is not smart. So I
Yeah.
understand not letting everything out of the bag. Whatever has to happen has to happen. I get that there are certain things that you can't just say, oh, this is all our secrets and whatever the hell. I get that.
TD says QAnon swears he already released Kennedy and Epstein stuff. Yeah, no. And what really drives me crazy about this is the guy who, when they asked him about Ghislaine Maxwell, he goes, I wish her well.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
yeah.
Don't come on the flip side and be like, I'm gonna blow this case wide open, because you could have and you did nothing.
Yeah, and also, what is he going to say? Like, they ask him, are you going to declassify the Epstein files? If he says no, you know, why would he say no? Even if his plan is no.
True. It's a good point. He's got nothing to lose by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever you want. Whatever you're saying now is what I'm going to do.
It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. And then the other big thing that came out of this was the lock her up.
He just flat out lied. Again, everybody shocked?
Yeah. Do you want to hear that clip?
Yeah, go for it.
I think it's important that we hear it, because I'll tell you. I mean, there's probably like 1 trillion people, but it's all over social media now. But let's see here. This is from. It's been a hell of a day for me, technology-wise, Frankie C. Me and technology not getting along today.
I hear you.
And I'm not surprised that I am having. Okay, here we go. MSNBC. Okay, so MSNBC put together this little supercut of fact-checking on Donald Trump, and here's the soundbite for you.
So the soundbite is brought to you by technology.
I thought I fucking had it. See, this is because I'm like, oh, let me just do it this way. It'll be like super easy. Okay, here we go.
And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you, I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up.
Lock her up is right.
I didn't say lock her up.
For what she's done, they should lock her up.
I didn't say lock her up.
Crooked, you should lock her up.
I didn't say lock her up.
Lock up Hillary. If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis. In that situation, we could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment and ultimately a criminal trial.
Guilty. That is Donald J. Trump.
So that came back to bite him in the ass pretty hard.
Yeah, but it won't affect anything. You could see in the chat, people are going to just vote for him no matter what. They don't care that he's a convicted felon. They don't care that he lies as much as he breathes. He'll say anything to get elected. He'll step on anybody that doesn't kiss his ass. And that's the way he is. So if you needed more proof that he's just a flat out liar, you know, I mean, everything he says, whenever he gets in front of a microphone, it's just bullshit after bullshit. So if that's what you want as your president, also, since he's a convicted felon, I've seen this thing going around that he can't go to like a shit ton of countries now.
The travel might be an issue.
Yeah, he's not allowed to go to Canada. He's not allowed to go to Australia. He's not allowed to go to the UK. He can't travel to all these places because he's a convicted felon. You can't visit as a convicted felon or something like that. I don't know what the exact rule is, but that's what everybody's saying. Like, it's going around everywhere. They can't go to all these different countries.
Do you know who Colin Cowherd is?
No.
How many times have you heard me say, like, oh, I'm a fan of this radio person? Versus how many times I go, that guy fucking sucks. Like,
You say that a lot.
You
say that guy sucks a lot.
Give people the ratio. You know me for a long time. I don't really have many kind things to say about a lot of people in that business. What would you say? How many people do I say is good out of bad? How many out of 100?
Out of 100, you'd say like 2 or 3.
2 or 3. I would say that's accurate. That's pretty fair. Colin Cowherd is a sports talk show host. I've actually been a fan of his for years. When I was doing mornings, I used to come home and I used to put on like Dan Patrick and him because it was easy. It was like, oh, it's sports, it's light. I'd watch a little bit and then I'd fall right asleep, and that would take my little afternoon nap, right? Mm-hmm. But I became enamored with Colin Cowherd because he's really good. And what I loved about him the most was he wasn't at all like what I am. Like, he's the complete opposite. And he's one of those guys where it's like, I was never afraid to imitate him because he has such a different style than what I'm comfortable with. So I actually wound up watching him more because it's like, oh, none of his tendencies are going to trickle into my persona. You know what I mean? Okay. So today, but what I loved about him, what I admire about Colin Cowherd the most is his ability to break things down and simplify things. And I always find myself going, I knew all that stuff, but I didn't think of it that way. So he said this on his show today. He's on Fox Sports now. This is what he had to say. Again, not a political guy, a sports guy, but I found this take to be interesting. Wanted to share it with you all.
Well, Donald Trump is now a felon. His campaign chairman was a felon. So is his deputy campaign manager, his personal lawyer, his chief strategist, his national security advisor, his trade advisor, his foreign policy advisor, his campaign fixer, and his company CFO. They're all felons. It's a cabal of convicts. When you're constantly trying to sell me on an America that I don't see, I'm not saying inflation's not an issue, but I get on airplanes all the time, and it's not a bunch of rich people. I don't fly private. I get on planes, there's people in normal clothes, they don't look rich to me, and the planes are all full, and the hotels are all full, and the freeways are all full. That means people are going to work. You're trying to sell me on this story and this narrative that's just not true. But when everybody in your team, everybody in your group, your cabal is a felon, maybe the world's not against you, but stop trying to sell me on everything's rigged, the country's falling into the sea. Maybe you're only happy when you're unhappy. But the America that I live in is imperfect, but compared to the rest of the world, I think we're doing okay. And if you're not.
Boom. Love it.
I thought that was a really good take. And we've seen all the trials and everything, but when you kind of zoom out of it and you go, oh my God, everybody in this guy's circle is in trouble with the law.
Yeah, everybody. He just rattled off a dozen or so names, and they're all top people in his administration. And it's like, you just want a bunch of felons running the country that are literally just looking out for themselves. All they're looking out for is, the biggest thing that Trump did in his 4 years is a tax cut for billionaire, for the 1%. That's all. That's the biggest thing he did. Is he cut taxes for the rich people and himself. That's it. And everything else he did was to just roll back everything Obama did, because he has a fucking hard-on for Obama for some reason. And the other thing was just making himself, taking away regulations so his businesses could be better, and go into his own places so that it would enrich his own business. He made his family made millions while he was in office. It's like, how does nobody see? It's not even, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's just out in the open and no one gives a shit. Not that no one gives a shit, but people who vote for him they go, oh yeah, we don't care. That's fine.
Yeah. And I go back to, and I have to bring this up because I still admire the man for everything he's done. But Chris Christie, I got people sending me clips of him from like months ago when he was still in the primary and everything. And he's talking about the fact that, he laid this out on, I don't even know what bullshit mainstream media show he was on, but he was like, Donald Trump is going to get convicted in this case. He's like, I've seen, and he was a district attorney. He's and a lawyer. He goes, I've seen all the evidence that they have. And he's like, he's going to get convicted. And he also said back then that he's going to get jail time too, because his point was, Chris Christie's point was, if they offer you a deal, if they offer you a plea and you don't take it and you make them go to trial, then you're going to get jail time for it. Yeah. I don't know how true any of that is, but that was Chris Christie's feeling. And he also, let's not forget, during the primary, when this got brought up, like, oh, he could be a convicted felon going into the general election. Would you still support him? Everybody else on that stage raised their hand except for Chris Christie, who refused to say, I'll vote for him even if he gets convicted of a crime. I think I mean, if you ask me, if I'm a Republican, which I'm not, by the way, if people want to know, I'm an independent, and I've voted both ways. I feel like a lot of people can tell that by how I handle the topics, but maybe some don't. But if I'm a hardcore Republican, I'm saying to myself, that's the guy I want representing me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's got a little integrity. He's got a little class to him.
I'm sorry, but I just have to address something in the chat. Your biggest problem is you don't want to listen to Chris Christie, Rhoda, because he shut down beaches and took his family to a private beach. So he did one or two things that you don't like. But Trump, everything he's done, you have no problem with. Chris Christie did one or two things that, are fucked up.
The bridge thing was a bad thing.
The bridge thing and the going to the beach thing. Yeah, fucked up.
Yeah.
Trump did a fucked up thing once a week. He went through his day trying to think of fucked up things to do. January 6th was a gigantic fucked up thing. And we have no problem with that, I guess. Fine. So I'm not going to listen to Chris Christie because he closed the beaches this one time. So everything Donald Trump did gets a pass, but Chris Christie's an asshole because he did one or two things wrong. I'm sorry, but that's just very, it doesn't add up for me.
I also think people don't like him because he's a fat Goomba from the Northeast.
Well, whatever. But
and I tend to identify with those people, but I'm always going to be on Chris Christie's.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Chris Christie because he was a part of the Trump campaign for way too long. He's trying. I guess he's on the side of redeeming himself a little. He's trying to get on the better side, but I don't know. It's just he did stay there a little too long.
Well, he's speaking his mind in a well, come on. To be fair, he was on the transition team. I mean, that was a good move for him, I feel.
I guess, but he was still like
to not
for
take
a little while. He was kissing Trump's ass just for a little while.
Well,
I get he's trying to redeem himself a little.
Yeah,
and I could respect that.
They all did, but I also feel like that was a good move for him because he didn't have to be in the administration. But it's a key position with not being in the administration to begin with. Our political correspondent's finally here, Jason. Hi, Jason. How are you?
Sabs, how are you?
It's a good thing I know everything.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pick on Rhoda. There was one comment that I apologize, Rhoda. I didn't mean to single you out. I apologize. So
that's all right. You're all fired up. I love it.
I was a little fired up, and I apologize.
I
don't
you
mean
fired
to single
up.
anybody. I don't like singling people out too much. So
Rhoda's a tough gal. She could take it.
All right, good. Sorry, J Sabs.
Hi.
Hello. I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were about to say something, and I interrupted you.
Completely forgot.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Well, that's my roundup on President Trump and the first interview coming off of Fox and Friends. And just to put a final point on this, I think this is affecting him. I don't think he wants to admit it, but I feel like he's had a lower amount of energy since he got convicted. J-Subs, you tell me if I'm crazy. I also think that the best he felt is probably going to the UFC fight. Did you see him at the UFC thing? Nobody there gave a shit that he was convicted.
They were all cheering for him.
They were all cheering for him, so he's still got his supporters. But I did see the first polls I saw, and I still have to go through all the polls.
That's what she said.
I still have to go through all the polls. I'm on top of the polls, people. I did see a CBS poll over the weekend that was not good for him, meaning they were polling Democrats, independents, and Republicans. And of course, Republicans all lined up. However, it wasn't as big of a number for the Republicans as it really should have been, meaning I think it was like 80% of Republicans feel like he got a bad thing and they're still going to vote for him. I think that's problematic because I think you need higher than 80% of Republicans, because when you calculate Democrats, and then independents, and by the way, the independents all thought it was bad too that he was convicted. So I feel like all those things, like you lose 20% of your base, you're suddenly treading a lot of water.
Plus, it's trial 1 of 4.
And
he's got 3 more to go here.
And he hasn't been sentenced yet, which still, like, again, I was like, all right, Chris Christie kind of knows, but I still don't think they're going to give him prison time. I just don't see it. I just
Probably not.
I don't see it. I don't think it would be good for him. But again, like you said, like like he has issues now.
Yeah,
like
being a convicted felon. I'm not sure what his what the law is in Florida, his residency. I don't even think he could vote for himself. I'm not sure. I don't know if a convicted felon, it's different in every state, but I'm not sure what the law is in Florida for a convicted felon if you're allowed to vote.
Oh, I thought that was a federal law that you couldn't vote if you were convicted.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a state by state thing. Maybe I could be wrong.
Hold on.
100%. If anybody knows that one.
All right. While you look, Flying Y says polls got it wrong in 2016.
Yeah, polls aren't always the most reliable.
No. But this is this is a point of pride for me. I called this in 2016, 2-3 days before the election. I said the polls that I'm looking at have this thing way closer than it's supposed to be.
Polls.
Yeah, the polls I'm working. Huh?
Right.
Anybody else getting turned on? They were way closer than what everybody else was saying in the mainstream media back then. So
wait, hold on 1 minute. I'm gonna mute myself. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So in Florida, you're not allowed to vote as a convicted felon until you completed your sentence, including probation and parole, and full payment of all restitution, fines, and other fees, subject to change. A felony conviction in another state makes a person ineligible to vote in Florida only if the conviction would make the person ineligible to vote in the state where the person was convicted. So it has to do with, so your state of residency is Florida, but you're convicted in New York. I'd have to look up what it says in New York now, but
according to Paul, it says that felons can vote in New York.
In New York, so he
would be still able to vote.
He would still able to vote in Florida. Okay, so he could still vote for himself.
What's hilarious though is that we've never been faced with this before. So there's a ton of what?
I'm sorry, Robin. It was a funny thing.
Trump parole officer 2024. Oh, we can make that shirt.
We can make a good running mate. That'd be a good running mate. That'd be a good shirt.
That would be a really great shirt. Parole officer. Remind me of that later on. I forgot what I was going to say. It doesn't even matter. It wasn't that important, I guess. The traveling thing would be an issue.
Yeah.
Frank, I haven't felt well this afternoon. I've been laying down quite a bit, so I didn't really see all the text messages. Frank got mad at me. Do you want to talk about this now?
Sure.
Frank is not pleased with the merch that we released over the weekend.
There was some merch released that I do not endorse. I didn't know about it. It was released, and I saw it on Facebook and wherever, and I went, what is this? I do not like the merch that was released for 2 very big reasons. One is it's sort of, I don't want to be harsh, but a little blasphemous. It's got Jesus comparing Trump to Jesus.
You're being a lot nicer than I thought you were going to be. I thought you were going to lay into
I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be.
You don't have to
friend.
be.
I'm not gonna yell at you, but I don't like the Trump Jesus Mother Teresa comparison. It's just very not my cup of tea. I just don't agree with that kind of imagery. The other reason is it's pro Trump stuff.
It's not your Snapple bottle, is what you're saying? It's not my
Snapple bottle. It's all pro. It's pro Trump kind of merchandise. We went through how many episodes where I said I wouldn't wear a MAGA hat if I lost a bet.
Oh, I forgot about all that. Remember that? I forgot.
And now we're selling Trump merch. I'm not a fan of that. don't like it. So I definitely, my number one reason is the blasphemy. I don't like the God imagery with Trump and all that stuff. I don't like that. And selling material like that it rubs me the wrong way. Not a fan of that. The other part is the fact that it's pro-Trump merchandise. I'm not a pro-Trump person, as anybody knows.
Ooh, I don't think it's pro-Trump at all.
Why Trump standing arm in arm with Jesus?
I think it's making fun of him. I think it's the complete opposite.
But someone who's pro-Trump wearing that shirt doesn't see that as making fun of that. I could see that shirt being worn by someone who's pro-Trump, and they would wear it proudly, and it wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I wore it, I wouldn't wear it, but I guess it would be seen as a joke because it'd be the opposite of what I feel. But do you know what I mean? Like, but anybody who feels that way would wear that thinking that it's the right way to feel.
I think it's interesting.
I don't see it that way at all. I see it, when I first saw it, I thought it was really funny because I thought he was making fun of him.
Yeah, I get the source. Like, it's coming from a source where it's making, where obviously we or, Anthony would be making fun of that situation. I get that. But when someone buys it and wears it, they're not considering where it's coming from. Do you know what I mean? It's just a picture of Trump and Jesus, or it says Donald Trump, Mother Teresa, or Jesus, Donald Trump, Mother Teresa. It's like, it just doesn't, the joke isn't on the shirt. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't. I think that you can't get past that it's Trump. Because
no, if it had Biden on it, if it was Biden and Jesus arm in arm or with their arms around each other, I wouldn't like that either.
Frank, just a minute. Frank, come on, Frank.
I told you what I felt.
Because here's the thing. There have been so many Jesus memes in the last, I don't know, basically when memes started. There have been so many Jesus memes.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's not I don't see these shirts siding with Trump at all. I think it's making fun of him.
Because you know where it's coming from.
No, not even.
The person who made it and is selling it ironically. But someone who buys it and wears it.
Wait, you're saying you think it's ironic because it's coming from Anthony?
Yeah, because he said it. He's selling it as a joke.
That. He thinks you're saying that too.
Well,
I didn't even hear him say that. I came in. I did not. But I think that anyone will look at that as a joke.
No, I don't think
that's an image that MAGA people have been showing that image of maybe not that specific image, but images of Jesus and Trump and Jesus standing behind joke. Trump in the Oval Office. No,
yes.
Not at all.
No,
not at all. They literally think he was sent by God, and it's not a joke.
So, all right, let me jump in here for a couple of things. I do find it very fascinating that one person could wear that shirt entirely as a joke, like Janine is saying, and another person could wear that shirt in all seriousness, like Frank is saying. I think both of those things are true.
But anybody walking down the street seeing a person wearing that shirt would not immediately go, "Oh, that's a joke." They would immediately go, "Oh, this person's pro-Trump."
See, but
I would not think
that.
Can I tell you something? I think just the way I said it couldn't be interpreted still holds true in your scenario. I think if they believe in Donald Trump, they would be like, "Oh, nice supporter." But I think if they don't like Donald Trump, they would be like, "That shirt's fucking hilarious."
No, if they don't like Donald Trump, they'll go, "What the fuck is that? That's ridiculous." Him and Jesus, you're comparing him to Jesus?
I don't think so. I think you're thinking they're going to think that person's automatically a supporter, and I don't think that's true. I don't think that. I think they can interpret it. I think they could also interpret it as a joke too.
I mean, you could interpret anything anyway, but it's literally a picture of Trump and Jesus with their arms around each other, and that kind of imagery has been spread around the MAGA world.
Yeah, which makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
In serious ways,
it makes me laugh. I know,
and I happen to believe in God and Jesus, so I don't like that imagery. I don't like that.
So
because I know
let me ask you though, have you never laughed at a Jesus meme before?
I've laughed at stuff like that, but it's
Right, but only
comparing.
because it's Trump that you don't like it. That's just admit that.
No,
Just say
it's not. It hurts it. I don't like it way more, but I don't like
Yes.
it either way. And
Right,
and it's not
right,
that.
just
It's not
admit
even
it.
that. I don't want like. It's not even that. Like, I don't want to be the one selling it either.
He doesn't want
It's
to.
all
I understand that.
It's all part of it. Like it's all wrapped into one thing. I don't like the blasphemy. I don't like that it's pro-Trump, and I don't like
Blasphemy.
taking in money selling that stuff. That's what I don't like.
So
It's the combination of the three.
all right. So let me jump in here because I shared this in our friend chat.
Also, Jesus has 6 fingers on his left hand in that. I'm just saying. Just wanted you to know that. That's just something I noticed. Take a closer look.
Goddamn AI.
Yep.
So,
Strike
so
4.
somebody, a few people in my, and I shared this in our little group chat. I didn't share it publicly because I'm not down to shame anybody. But somebody put something similar to this. Do you remember? It was blue. It was in a blue background. I know my friends don't read my post. She's like, what? You guys don't read my posts in the friend chat. I get it. But I was taken aback by how many people were like, well, Jesus was found guilty too. And he's doing just fine. I laugh at that, but people are dead serious. I mean, this person that I shared with you guys was dead serious.
See that the people take that stuff seriously, and they're like,
yeah. So I was like, this is really a thing. And the idea came to me, and I was just like, I wonder what this would look at. So I just literally just went right into AI and was like, give me a shirt of Jesus and Trump embracing one another. And it spit out that image, and I just thought, well, that's kind of hilarious. And so I was like, let's put this on a shirt. Now let me ask you a question, Frank.
see, that looks like pro-Trump.
No, that
you-
looks like a joke.
Hold on. Do you not
you,
like
maybe.
it? Do you not like it because we're selling it, or do you not like it because everybody who had a problem with it, I commented it was Frank's idea? Just so I know.
Yeah, a little both. I don't. You see stuff like this. You see stuff like this in the MAGA world. They have like the flags and all these images. There's stuff on like Twitter of like Jesus standing behind Trump. Trump's at the Oval Office and in the Oval Office at the desk, and like a spiritual looking Jesus is like behind him with his hand on his shoulder. Like you see that a lot, and it's ridiculous. Like just based on the fact that I'll go a little, no politician should be, using that kind of imagery. But the fact that people think that Trump is even close. Do you know what I mean? Like
he's the least Christian of all.
He's the least close to that imagery, that you can get. The guy, wants to. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go through the laundry list of bullshit that the guy does.
Well, Paul asked an interesting question.
It's insulting.
Why shouldn't AOA grift off of MAGA? Which was kind of my thought process going through it. Was kind of like, people might like this, even if they buy it as a joke or not a joke. We could give it to them, whereas maybe other people wouldn't do that. So I was like, let me give you the background of it. I was like, let's just put this on sale and see what happens over the first couple of days, and then we'll take it down if it's not working out well. And I haven't even looked at the numbers yet. I did just open up the window so I can, but we didn't really put much behind it other than the couple of posts that we put out for it. That was really it.
Right.
And then what I was going to do is I was going to, and we never do this, but I was like, just to reach the audience, we could like put ads behind it, but the process behind that is way more complicated than the last time I ever did that. So I was like, I forget this. I was like, we're not going to even bother with that. But that's an interesting question, though, is why shouldn't we profit off of people, whether they like it as a joke or like it as a support?
Okay, well, that's part of it, and the other part of it is comparing Trump to Jesus is absolutely terrible. If you want to compare, obviously you can't compare anybody to Jesus, but if you want to say that two people are you want to put two people that are really good on the same thing, but it's just Trump is like the opposite of Jesus. It's insulting to anybody that believes in Jesus. It's like you're putting Trump and Jesus on the same level. And I know Jesus loves everybody, he loves Trump, but it's like this kind of thing is just a very
Jesus would forgive Trump. You're right about that. I didn't think of that.
Also, Trump would have to want to be forgiven, and I think he's asked to be honestly, I think he's asked to be forgiven once.
Let me tell you something. You don't forgive me, okay? I forgive you. All right, JC? That's how this is going to work.
I just don't like the idea of Trump and, selling a Trump anything, I don't like. Selling a Jesus and Trump anything, I don't like. It just doesn't, all of this just rubs me the wrong way.
Got it. All right, let me ask you a question. What if I subbed out Trump for you? Would that be better?
It's better, but I still don't like it.
I don't love it. Okay.
No,
all right.
not
Well, at least you're not a
fan of
hypocrite. You're not a hypocrite.
I'll survive that, but
I'll survive that.
Yes, six
well,
fingers on the left
well,
hand.
I have an issue with you. Are you saying that Jesus wouldn't have 6 fingers if he wanted to? Because I'm pretty sure he turned water into wine.
Oh, he could do anything he wants, but there it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you're right. Yeah, 6 fingers.
Yeah, I can count. I know.
It's a good looking Jesus, though. It's not a bad Jesus.
I mean,
I also this didn't make it into the shirt, but I don't know why there's 2 identical buildings behind each one of them. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know what those buildings are supposed to be, but
I don't know how AI works.
I think the one on the left is the courthouse. I think that's New York courthouse.
I did have a moment of I wonder if this would really bother Frank.
Did you think that?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do it. And then I was like, well, I was like, oh, maybe he won't care.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, listen, if you were doing it, it's just for me, it's not my thing. I just thought it doesn't.
Can I be honest with you? I
found
thought
it
you were
awesome.
going to be a lot more angry.
I'm reserving myself. I'm not.
You are.
I'm holding myself.
And I don't know why.
Back. I don't want to, because I'm not going to flip out on you. I just don't like the whole idea. Like, if you want to put, I don't even know. Like, if it was Trump and his sons, I would still have a problem with it because we're selling Trump merch. I don't want to sell pro-Trump shit.
Right.
But the fact that it's Trump and Jesus, it's like that's not
even
only
if we
Trump
could-
merch, but it's also blasphemy on top. I'm like, this is not good.
Even if we can make a quick buck, put a little bit into the bottom line.
I don't want to make a quick buck.
You have integrity, my friend. Here's something I wouldn't do ever. Trump Crocs.
See,
I would
why
never
wouldn't you do that?
damage the Croc. Well, the Croc is a serious thing that shouldn't be messed with.
Okay, you're an asshole.
Crocs are sacred, Frank.
You're a
Okay.
dick.
Maybe
Send all the hate mail this way, guys.
Miss Justice says Frank has his standards. I believe he does.
Yeah, I'm not,
Doesn't Anthony ask for approval on merch items? I think I mentioned them. I did not mention this, though, to be fully honest.
This flew under the radar.
You could do whatever you want.
This,
I did put Janine's face on it on a t-shirt. She did not care at all.
that's true.
What if I put
I have
Janine
that
with
t-shirt.
Jesus? Is that a problem?
No, that's okay.
Okay, call her a whore. You know you want to.
Oh, he didn't say no.
I shook my head. I said no.
Come on, Frank. Mary Magdalene. She was a whore too, I think, right? Wasn't she?
I believe she was, I wouldn't call her a whore, but I think she was a woman of the evening.
All right. What about a guitar shredding Jesus? Still bad?
I don't know, man. I'm not going to make up all these rules now. I just don't like the Trump and Jesus thing. That's I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to solve every fucking image that you put out there.
Look,
but
Paul,
I'm not a fan.
Drain MAGA. We could drain MAGA. They're fine.
Drain MAGA.
Oh,
They're already buying it all up. I mean,
I know, $52 million. We talked about that last episode, but or 54, whatever it was. I think it's up to 72 coming off the whole weekend.
There was someone, one of his idiot Republican people in Congress, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, was saying, "Oh, this person's donated $100 million to Trump." It's like, well, that explains how he made 52. You know, he got rich friends who has millions. One of them donates 10 million. There's a fifth of the donation pool right there. So it's, I don't think the numbers are expressing how much support he has in a huge way. I think a lot of his rich friends are donating, you know. Okay. I think that's just my opinion. I could be way off. It could be 52 million people voted, sent $1 in. I have no idea. But my opinion, I think he got a lot of rich people to, if he got 50 people to donate a little over $1 million, there's your goal. But, you know, I don't know. That's
which is not beyond the realm of possibility because he's a Republican. Businesses love Republicans. Republicans got them. Businesses got the money. Now, Janine says in the chat, it's awkward. Okay. If Anthony removes, I'm leaving the pod. I thought you were going to tell me to take it down or you're leaving the pod. That's what I thought was going to happen here. So now I feel like we're stuck in a weird place.
Oh, boy.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
We're going to see where the numbers are. And if the thing sells, it stays. Like and if it's not selling, it goes.
I don't like, oh, well, it's making money, so let's be blasphemous. No, I don't like that idea.
It's making money, let's be blasphemous.
Yeah, well, it's selling, so what's the problem? No, that doesn't square with me. I mean, I'm not, it's your show. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
No, it's our show. You know, it's our show.
Yeah, but I'm not going to
I don't want to make you guys do uncomfortable things.
But that,
I mean, it's bad enough we make Janine stay to the end of the episode.
You're right. You want to talk about uncomfortable things.
I haven't had a conversation with Janine post-show in, I don't know, 3.5 years.
I thought that you guys just leave.
No, we talk for a while after the show. We're off the air. We talk about plans for the rest of the week, the weekend. We bullshit for like a half an hour. We're talking to each other.
How's the dog? How's the kids? Jeez. You know, we're in conversations.
Yeah.
Well, with 6 fingers, Jesus could shred. That would be amazing.
That's true. Kill ourselves.
All right. Well, we'll make a decision on the shirts, but we'll figure that out. But I understand. I hear what you're saying. The fact that you're being so nice about it is making me feel worse.
It's just I
thought you were going to come in here and just lay into me.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. But I just, you know my feelings. I'm not a fan of it. For the combination of all those reasons. Like there are I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. That's all.
Yeah,
it's like selling Bibles, with your name in it.
That's the thing. There's money to be made out there with these people, and it's like
I'm not into grifting people who are taking advantage of people's faith and shit. And I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Ant's going backwards in the chat. There's a lot of old comments I wanted to get to, and didn't want to miss. So, did I do this one? Yes, I did.
Oh, drain my. Yeah, no, I get that, and that's a good point. But they're already buying. They're buying it from other places.
Then Maddie goes, "Why shouldn't AOA grift off Jesus?"
Yeah,
that's a tougher one.
Grift off Trump, but not Jesus.
I don't know if the big man's really up there or not, but I'm not willing to take that much of a gamble on it.
Willing to gamble for that? No.
I'm
not willing to make $20 or whatever the hell we're selling.
Yeah, we don't make a lot of money off the shirts anyway.
I'm not willing to take that bet.
Janine goes, I'm buying 500.
You buy the whole stock, and then we'll close the shop up, and that's it.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly. All right. Hunter Biden.
I'm sorry. No, Rhoda says, I don't agree with Frank. I don't agree with it either, but it's freedom of speech, and I stand for freedom of speech. Absolutely. People can. I don't agree with it, and people can sell whatever they want. But it's the only reason, people have sold stuff like this all around the country. People sell stuff with Jesus on it all the time. Part of the reason that I'm, I had mentioned all the reasons combined why I don't like it, and one of those reasons is that it's my name is attached to the show.
All right, be honest. How much of this is artistic integrity and the fact that Jesus accidentally has 6 fingers? Where's that on the list?
0.0005.
Oh, so it's low. Okay,
it's very, very low.
I thought it would have been like 3 or 4, to be honest with you.
I mean, maybe 2%.
Okay,
but
sorry, that was an accident. Hold on, look, I'm breaking everything. Okay,
yeah, but it's the selling stuff with Jesus on it, pro-Trump, making money off. I just none of it's sitting right with me.
Do you think if we made a shirt that said AOA podcast, Jesus' favorite podcast, is that bad?
Yeah, that's bad.
Okay, because I'd love to see that, but I'll respect it.
You want to make your own shirt and and wear it and do whatever you want to do with your own shirts.
Do it on your own time, Anthony.
I mean, if I'm part of the show, then and I'm part of what's selling this merchandise, that's
I get that.
Why I feel like I have a voice about freedom of speech. I'm all for freedom of speech, and people sell things like that all the time. But the fact that it's on the show that I'm involved with is where where I come to crossroads with it.
Well said. All right. There's no danger of seeing a Jesus Hunter Biden shirt in this podcast whatsoever, just so everybody knows.
So yeah, I have a problem with that too.
That's not even, I mean, Hunter and a couple of hookers, maybe. We'll kick that around AI and see what it comes out with, but not Hunter with Jesus for sure. 3 counts. Hunter's facing 3 counts accusing him of illegally possessing a firearm while being addicted to crack cocaine after lying on a federal gun purchase form to obtain the weapon in the first place.
Okay.
President Biden not implicated in this case, by the way, but of course it is his son. Here's my issue with people who go, "Oh, the Biden DOJ is weaponizing the government here." If that were really 100% true, he would have stopped this trial against his own son. Excuse me. And he's stayed out of it. Now, I've heard people say he's commented on it and he's lingered about it, but I feel like he's kept his distance from this trial. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. Most notably, I think he's going down for this. I mean,
could be. The
evidence is pretty compelling in this case.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And I got to say, Joe Biden, President Biden is, I haven't really heard him say much about this trial with his son. And to be honest, I haven't heard him say much about the Trump trial itself. He's taken jabs at Trump, like in some ads and stuff like, "Oh, I hear you're free on Wednesdays." But that has nothing to do with the actual trial, like the goings on in the trial.
Yeah, correct.
So he hasn't really mentioned I don't listen to everything they all say, but I haven't heard him say, "Well, I think that he's guilty," or "I think this is happening," or "I think this witness needs." He hasn't discussed the trial from what I have seen or heard.
Right. So basically all you need to know here is like he lied on a form because they ask you if you're, I mean, I could read all the three counts. False statement in purchase of a firearm which faces a maximum of 10 years imprisonment and a fine of $250,000. Count 2 is false statement related to information required to be kept by federal firearms licensed dealers. And count 3 is possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. We've all seen the stuff of him weighing coke and doing drugs and being in precarious situations with prostitutes. And the timeline matches up when he went out and purchased this firearm. He should be behind bars for this. And I think it's terrible that the first son is in that situation. But
here's a question.
Yeah.
The evidence that was obtained, mostly from his laptop?
Right.
Was that evidence taken legally?
Or yeah. Well, he's going to claim. Well, so I think this is going to become an issue in the trial itself, right? Because that's what they're going to claim.
It's like, why did you take my? Where did you get my laptop?
Right.
What gave you the right to take my personal stuff off the laptop? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, evidence obtained illegally. They might. I don't know. They might have something there. I mean, we really don't know that story other than they say he left it at some computer shop. And he says he never did. So, I mean, I think it's he said sort of a situation.
How did he get it? How did the computer shop guy get it? Took it, lifted it from him?
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the computer shop guy said, well, he left it here, and I contacted him to come back and pick it up numerous times, and he didn't. So whether or not he's allowed to go and peer on, listen, if this were 99% of the time, I would say that's correct and this shouldn't be allowed. In this particular instance, he is a public person of interest, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Sure, of course he is.
He's the son of the president of the United States of America. And if somebody comes into possession of that material, there is not a newspaper, reporter, radio station, TV station on the planet that would not release that as a story, because it is a story.
Right.
Sure.
When you're a liability to the president of the United States, you're a liability to the entire American public. So
I get that.
You know what I mean? I think that's probably going to be the defense's attempt, but I think that juries should see through that and realize that this guy was a drug addict and purchased a firearm and then lied about it on a form. He should go to prison. And again, if you want to nitpick this from the Trump angle and be like, well, this is going, 65 and a 55, who gets tickets for that? Really? That may be. But again, much like I said with Trump, I believe that these people should be held to a higher standard if they're going to be in a position of leadership.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the law should apply equally to everybody, no matter what your position is.
Right.
If you're president's son, if you're the former president, if you're the president himself.
And I think we're seeing that, right? Aren't we seeing that? Trump's getting convicted. This guy's going to trial. I'm talking about the laptop thing. If this was just some average person, nobody would care. No report. If you walked up to a reporter and was like, "Oh, the accountant in my town is doing drugs," they might do it.
Right.
They might not. It kind of depends.
Right.
But if you say it's the son of the president of the United States,
of course,
that's going to.
But again, I mean, if it's a story in the newspaper, that's one thing. But then to use that,
but once it's out there in the public,
right?
Is that enough for law enforcement to go on in order to seize the laptop?
Yeah.
Is a story in the newspaper enough evidence to get a search warrant?
Yes. I mean? Yeah. Well, clearly it is, because they brought the case. I mean, they wouldn't bring the case if they didn't think that it was.
Yeah, if they didn't think so. But unless it holds up as you guys got this without, this guy, turned it over. He has a confidentiality. He's not supposed to release anything. There could be a mountain of roadblocks that prevents this kind of, I don't know. We'll see what the defense is. I mean, it started today.
Yeah.
So, and it's closed doors, right? There's no cameras, the same kind of thing.
Same thing. And he also, the Times reported that he told friends that he was going to go, he bought a gun, he was going to go to a shooting range to try and curb his drug use. Like, let me use this activity so I don't do that activity, which is kind of bananas. And he's also claiming, and I think this is going to be part of his defense, which we'll have to look out for, is that all these things were staged and they weren't real. Like the crack pipe and all that stuff was not real. But I've seen
how many fingers he has in those photos. You never know if they count the fingers. Let's see what we got.
It's cool. It's a dead giveaway. The fingers are a dead giveaway.
For some reason we can't get that down.
No, fucking AI.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, is it staged or not? That's going to be his defense. And I think, knowing what I've seen about this case, this seems like a pretty open and shut thing, and he should be given jail time for it. And that's it. He fucked up. That's it. Listen, we all fuck up sometimes. Sometimes your fuck up gets treated more harshly than others. I mean, I've been there a couple of times where, in high school, do you remember when I got suspended because I didn't want to fucking rat on somebody, and the person that was in there was kind of new to the game, and he was trying to set an example. I had to sit there for like a month and a half in detention because I wouldn't rat.
What did he do? Now I have to know. What did this guy do?
Who, Hunter or the guy I wouldn't rat on?
The guy who you wouldn't rat on.
I swear to God, I don't even remember. Somebody moved somebody's ID or wallet from one locker to another. It was like a gag, and they thought it was stolen or something, and they wanted to know who it was.
So how
and
did you
somebody
get pulled in?
said that I saw it because I was right next to him, and I did see it.
Oops.
But I was like, I'm not gonna. I was like, I don't know who it is, and this particular, I don't want to get into too much.
No, you don't have to. Don't say anything you don't want to. Don't.
This particular person, I think, had a problem with my ethnicity and where I came from.
Oh.
And because I was like, I don't know, I didn't see it, and
Was
I
it
think
J-Sabs? It was J-Sabs.
no, I think that was taken as, oh, the Italian kid's knocking a rat. Well, I'll show him, and it kind of became, and it was kind of, it was not kind of true. It was true. I didn't want to rat on the guy. I didn't think it was. I don't know what my reasoning was at the time, but I was just like, I'm not going to be the person to fucking squeal.
I think Goodfellas came out that year.
It was the year Goodfellas came out.
And you were like, you know what? If I can get one lesson from this movie.
Yeah, but I think they found it all. Like the kid, like wound up confessing to it anyway. So I was like, because I think I said, why don't you just go question that's what I said to him. He said to me, somebody said you were here and there was 3 or 4 guys around. They saw you with these guys. And he goes, who took the wallet or whatever? And I go, I don't know. I go, it wasn't me though. And they're like, yeah, we know it's not you, but the person said that they saw you were walking away like as it was happening.
Ooh.
And who was it? I go, then just go ask those guys. You know who the other guys are? Go ask them.
Right.
And he didn't like that. He didn't like that.
Ooh.
Man.
14 days detention, and I got suspended for 2 days. My parents had to go to the office. It was a whole big thing.
I hope that guy appreciated it. And then he got nailed for it anyway, right? After the whole thing, he confessed or whatever.
Yeah, he confessed. And then my dad, after he came out of the principal's office, he said, "You learned a valuable lesson. 1, never rat on your friends, and 2, always keep your mouth shut." No, I'm kidding. That was from Goodfellas.
I know that.
And 3, always slice garlic with a razor blade for some reason.
That's what he said to me coming out of the principal's office. I'm like, that's odd timing, Dad, but I'll try it.
I mean, I can learn something new every day, I guess.
Yeah, I told that when because I got a little mouthy when I said go ask those guys, which I don't think I was wrong there. It's not my, let them tell.
Yeah, you said I didn't see anything. What do you want? How could they pin anything on you if you say I didn't see anything? I could see if you said I saw it all, but I'm not saying anything. But if your argument was I didn't see anything, how could you get in trouble for that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. I never really thought about it. Other than I was pretty adamant about I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't see it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm getting in trouble for not knowing something. I don't understand.
But that's probably why, because I said go ask them.
Oh, because you were a dick. I get it.
Yeah.
I can see that. you whenever there's authority with you, like in your professional life, there's a little bit of a see how much I could be a dick with this guy. just a little bit. I want to push it to see what will get me suspended, then back it up just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I saw a video today where there was these 2 guys. Let me know if you saw this video in the chat. I want to know too. These 2 guys, they're driving near the border. They're 50 miles away from the Mexican border. And so Border Patrol pulls them over because it's their right within 100 miles of the border to randomly stop people and ask for ID and everything. So they ask this 2 guys in the truck. This guy's filming. And he goes, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" The driver goes, "Yes, I am." And so they ask the other guy, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" He goes, "I'm not answering that question." And they went on and on, so much so that to the point where it was a 15-minute video and they finally dragged the guy out and arrested him. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just go, yeah? And he's going, my 5th Amendment right and my 6th Amendment. He's invoking all these things. And I'm like, dude, they just want to
right for women to vote, amendment, all of it. I'm invoking all of it.
Yeah, he was laying into it. And I was like, man, younger Anthony would have probably been all charged up at this video, but older Anthony is like, why are you being such a difficult person? Just fucking tell him.
Yeah. And he probably he was a
Yes.
citizen. He could have just said yes, and it would have been all over.
And the other guy, I don't know too much about it, but the other guy I think was his brother-in-law maybe, and he was in a work truck because eventually it got to the point where they were like, okay, you have to get out of the car. And the driver, who had no issue, he looks over and almost apologetically like, it's a work truck, I have to do this. And the guy was like, do what you got to do, man. I'm not answering any question. Like, and I'm just like, this is so unnecessary. You could just be like, yes, and then be on your way to getting a beer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's a whole big thing. Now you're under arrest, and now it's a big,
Yeah, I don't understand people and why they do that kind of shit.
It's just say, you could just say yes and move on. It just, there are fights that are worth fighting, and then there are just fucking say yes and move on.
Yeah.
If it's not if it's not if it's an easy, no consequence thing, then move on. Then do it and move on.
Yeah. And 17-year-old Anthony might not have gotten that, but this guy was like in his 40s, and I'm like, you should know better, dude.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
You should know. Everything, every issue I encounter in life now, I just go, how quickly can I avoid this and go get a beer and just fucking relax? That's how I tackle every life issue now.
Right. No, I agree.
I don't think that's a bad way to be.
No, I like it.
Brian Laundrie's FBI file was exclusively obtained by the New York Post. They revealed that he had tons of papers, notes with doodles about his quote unquote mania, skull graphics, and lots of words on papers like trust no one and kill.
Okay.
I don't know how
in his diary that he kept,
like in all his possessions and stuff. Like they said, there was a common theme of there was lots of trust no one and kill.
Jeez.
Lot of writings, a lot of scribblings. I don't know how the Post, they'll never tell us how they obtained his FBI file, but they got it. And some of the stuff is kind of crazy, and I'll put it in the live chat for everybody to read through. But it's like it's drawings of like a mad person. It's clearly a madman. It's somebody that's unhinged and
got a lot of problems.
Got a lot of problems, which really makes me fear for the younger generation, especially of men too, of like, I don't know. And J Sabs, I'd love to get your impression of this too. This generation of like 20 and 30-year-old men, 20-year-old men, 18-year-old men, like I worry about them a little bit because I feel like this is like a video game generation. Like this was a generation like heavy into video games, and I don't know, maybe too young for like Grand Theft Auto, but they were playing it anyway. And I just feel like they're very angry. They're very withdrawn. I've read a couple of things on this too, that like they snap very quickly. They're like really unhinged, unhappy. I was talking about this the other day, a couple of podcasts ago. They're not, I hate to say it like this, but they're not having sex as often. They're not seeking it out. Like it's a very strange, it's like a alone sort of.
Where does this come from?
Existence.
Where'd you hear this?
There's like if you search this, there's lots of people writing articles about this, how this generation is like because you'll see a lot of this with like women like on dating apps where they'll try and connect, or they'll see a guy and they'll agree to go on a date, and then like they'll flip out, or they'll just be very aggressive for no reason, or they're just really like, I don't know, disturbed. Like they spend a lot of time alone. They spend a lot of time on their phone, and they're just getting like those dopamine hits, and they're getting like certain things out of it. And then when they go to have like human interaction with somebody, they
don't know how to.
They don't know how to, and they're not handling it well enough to be like, or like it's not like a breakdown or a cry. It's like lashing out, and could be violent at times.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, Fly and Y, Pornhub generation. They're also saying the amount of porn, like they're just watching porn, and that's their like grasp of relationships and how.
Yeah.
Right.
They're almost like obsessed with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're not interacting in the world the way they had to prior to the phone.
Well, in a couple of years, nobody will have to interact with anybody. We'll all be hooked up to goggles and remotes and shit, and that'll be that. We'll just be all in AI and meta, whatever the hell verse, and that'll be the
Right.
and we'll interact via the web.
Yeah, AI and VR.
That's it.
Well, J-Sabs, you cheat on your husband often, right? So what are the younger guys like out there?
Phew. Well, they last a good 5
Stop
minutes.
it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
They last a good 5. I don't know. I feel like what I hear is that it's so hard to meet someone these days. You know, besides online dating, but even that's hard too. It's just different. It's different because you could just, to me, it's like, okay, let me go look through profiles. Nah, I'm good, bye. So, like, how do you know you really can connect with someone without meeting them? But that also takes time. So how are you going to meet all these people? You know?
Yeah.
Well, they got the apps and all that, and that's, you know, I don't know. It's a different generation, so they're meeting people different ways. There are people that can handle it, and evidently there are people that can't.
Right.
So, and that's the sort of the feedback that, again, people are writing about. Listen, I don't know how true it is. I'm not dating. I'm not dating at the moment. Probably soon, but not yet. And even if I was, it would be young men. So, you know, I don't really know, but I can see it. You know what I'm saying? Like when people talk about the nonstop porn, the video gaming, you know, it's like you can see this is all they're really into, you know. They even say like the compulsive sports gambling, like they're just gambling money away on their phone. Then there's no like,
oh yeah,
they're getting thrills in all other areas except with connecting with, you know,
it's like an immediate
other.
What's that term? It's like
dopamine hit.
Yeah, but it's like
immediate gratification,
right? Instant gratification. And when it's dating, it's like a process, and you have to get to know each other, and it's a long, you know. But that's the idea. You have to date, and you have to get to know each other, and that's the way it works. And I like the idea. Like I met my wife on a dating app on eHarmony, and I feel like that was a good way that they did it, because you didn't meet each other right away. It wasn't like you found them and said, let's meet up. You had to go through a process. You had to get to know each other first over the app, and before you could even talk. You had to exchange likes, dislikes, you know, what you know, your interests and all this stuff before you even started talking. Then you chat and you know, this and that, and then you move on to the next stage, and they had it in like stages. So, but there are apps that don't do that. I feel like there are apps that are just like, hey, this person is in your area, you want to meet up? It's like, oh, all right, geez, you know.
Yeah, most
there
people
isn't that courting anymore.
Well, yeah, well, we were dating on an app or not, even not on an app. Like it would take weeks, months to get together with somebody, because like you met them, and then when you were around again, and sometimes that was a week or two, and then you go out, and oh great, and then there's another week or so before you date again. You know, before you go out on another date again. Like it took a while.
You gotta have patience,
right?
And you know.
A gay friend of mine was complaining the other day because he goes, nobody on, what's the gay one, Grindr?
Yep.
Okay. He goes, nobody on Grindr is looking for a relationship.
No, definitely not.
They're all looking for a quick hookup. He's like, there's no place for gay guys to find like a long-term partner. He's like, it doesn't exist.
They don't have that on like the other apps, like eHarmony, Match. They don't have like if you're a guy looking for a guy, you know.
I'm sure I don't know about eHarmony, but I'm sure Match does. I'm sure they do. And maybe that's the answer. I don't know. But his whole point was, you know, you go on like he said the whole community is looking to hook up so quickly that there's no place for us to go to like find a long-term partner.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I see that there are now that we were talking about it, there are commercials. You see, I tend to notice the eHarmony commercials. When the eHarmony there are same-sex couples in the commercial that have met on eHarmony. So I feel like there are, I don't know how successful, I don't know how prevalent it is in the app, but I feel like at least there are places where like eHarmony is a little more, I guess, taken a little more seriously in terms of wanting to be in a relationship and like Match and those kinds of things. And Grindr, I think, and like Tinder, they have like this stigma of hookups.
Just meeting and hooking up, yeah.
Right. So I do think that if your friend is looking for like relationships, there are, like I've seen the commercials have same-sex couples on the commercials. So
on eHarmony? Because I thought that was a religious thing.
I didn't think it was no. I don't.
They don't like the gays, the religious people.
No. I don't. That's not. No. I didn't get that impression. I haven't been on eHarmony in 15 years.
Okay.
But
are you sure? Because I feel like you're about to throw a link out there.
No, eHarmony.com.
You're pumping eHarmony. So.
No, well, that's the one I met my wife on, and that it's always going to be special. But
I feel like you're about to offer the audience 15% off if they click.
Use
on
the
your
code
link.
Frank. But no, I'm serious. Like I tend to notice the eHarmony commercials a little more than the other ones because that is, it's special.
Yeah,
and I feel like I've seen same-sex couples on those. Yeah, there's a whole campaign, "Get Who Gets You" or something, right? You ever see those commercials where it's a couple and they're like, there were two women, one throws like a thing of laundry on her, and they're playful. I think that's eHarmony.
Sounds hot.
Well, yeah, right. Well,
they're fighting over laundry at first.
Like there's one girl lying down, and the other girl brings up the laundry and throws it on her.
Yeah, what's she wearing?
I don't know.
Sorry.
You're an ass. She has 6 fingers though.
Damn it.
Good for the lesbian.
I was about to use a 6-finger line, and then
so I know that happens. It happens.
Okay.
They have those.
Green the stink. Ew, disgusting. I hate that. Go ahead.
What?
Do you think eHarmony is better now or better when you were on it because it was like fresh and new?
Well, I don't know what it's like now. I only know the commercials. I haven't been on eHarmony.
I'm just saying, like, do you think their success rate is good? Because I feel like back in the day, eHarmony was like one of the more, like, I don't know if you guys remember this the same way as I do, but it was like Match and all the other ones weren't so serious, but eHarmony was like, I'm ready to get married.
I think, it was like, you're looking for a relationship. That's what it was. And there wasn't really, not that I can remember, it wasn't a lot of sites at that time, 15 years ago. It was 3, maybe. I don't even remember maybe Match was around.
Match was around.
I don't know any other ones, but
what were the other ones? It was Match, eHarmony.
I don't even know, but that was 15 years ago. That's what it was, and they did it. We obviously it was successful for us, but I don't know what they've changed.
Let's see. That's not from the text I'm getting from your wife.
Okay. I don't know how it's changed since then. I'm sure they've only worked on it and hopefully improved it since in 15 years. I can't believe I wouldn't think that they did nothing, in 15 years. So
I'm just curious to see if it's like run its course. Frankie Jesus 2024.
All right.
I'd buy that shirt. I don't know if Frank would be happy with it though.
No. See, I'm not against Jesus imagery, because people get tattoos of the cross. That's someone selling an image of the cross or Jesus, or that's. But like to put him next to a politician, like this guy's a saint. It's just very.
Just admit it. It's against him. That's it. Just say.
I said that's part of it. I said that's part of it.
It isn't.
All right. No, because if it was him and Biden, I wouldn't like it either.
Oh, Frank, stop lying to yourself.
All right,
I love you, man.
Let's do something that Janine's wanted to do for a long time and get on Fauci. Am I right, Jay Sabs?
Get on him.
You and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Did you see all this stuff that's going on today?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. So Fauci went in front of Congress for questioning. He did it in January, I want to say, privately behind closed doors, and then did it publicly today. And Marjorie Taylor Greene did make a complete ass out of herself once again. In fact, so much so that people like some of the Republicans were like, all right, take it easy. Because she refused to call him doctor.
Yeah, Mr. Fauci, because you're not a doctor. I don't believe you should be given that title. It's like, shut up.
Which again drives me crazy because these people, they fail to see that their own issues are getting in the way of the point that they're trying to make. Do you want to hear the clip?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene from earlier today. You know what? Fuck it. We're not doing clips. Take my word for it. She said it. She said
it's available everywhere.
It's there. It's out there somewhere. That he's a Mr. She called him Mr. Fauci, and then people took issue with it in Congress because they're like, well, you can't just downgrade him and say that he's not a doctor. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which again, she had probably a good point to make. And then it gets gunked up because she's trying to, fire up her base and prove like that she's tough and she's going to ask the tough questions. She's putting herself above the process.
Yeah. So her own, I don't know, ridiculous way of thinking. It's like, what are we doing? Why is she in charge of any of this line of questioning? There's no one else that could spearhead this, she couldn't ask someone else to, hey, can you ask these questions? Because she just sounds ridiculous every time she does it.
I know a couple of things here. It was the 6 feet rule, which was kind of a big thing, right? All right, let me read it. Let me go through a couple of things here. Anybody who's looking at this carefully realizes that there's a distinct anti-science flavor to this, Fauci said in a November 28th, 2021 interview with CBS News, Face the Nation. So if they get up and criticize science, nobody's going to know what they're talking about. But if they get up and they really, I don't know why I'm reading this. I don't know. When asked about the 6 foot rule, Fauci said it sort of just appeared, I don't recall, in a January congressional interview that the social distancing mandate imposed on federal agencies, businesses, and schools, he said, quote, just an empiric decision that wasn't based on data or even data that could be accomplished. Fauci said today during his testimony, when I say it was not based in science, I meant a prospective clinical trial to determine whether 6 foot was better than 3 or was better than 10. He also added that it was a, quote, CDC decision, that it didn't come from him.
Okay. So what's our problem?
Well, people have a big problem with it because they're like, if this wasn't based in science, then why did we have to go through it? And to the point where it did become a mandate, like we said, in the federal.
Yeah, but it wasn't his call.
Well, that's what he's saying now, that he wasn't a part of this decision. But I mean, he was up there plenty of times with President Trump and all the others saying, keep your distance from everybody.
Well, keep your distance, sure.
But I have no problem with that. I don't have an issue with it. I understand why people would have an issue with it becoming, a part of a thing where it was a mandate imposed in federal agencies and everything like that. If it wasn't like a proven scientific thing. But again, what I would say to those people is, you're scrambling around in the moment when it's happening. You're going to get a lot of things wrong.
You're going to get some stuff wrong. And 6 feet apart was that really such a terrible idea? I mean, maybe it wasn't done in trials and they didn't go to, test it on monkeys and they didn't do all kinds of crazy, tests. But it wasn't like they were saying, oh, you can't see anybody ever and you can't, it wasn't like this big, what's it called? It wasn't like this big disruption of your life that you had to stay 6 feet apart from people. It was like, it was a reasonable request, for something that's airborne. It's like, all right, least we could do is maybe not try to spread this thing a little bit. And 6 feet was like a reasonable, hey, let's not, kiss each other on the cheek every time we, maybe keep some distance. It doesn't seem like it was that terrible of an idea.
On the masking issue, in March of 2020, Fauci said in a 60 Minutes interview, wearing a mask might make people feel a little better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection. Fauci went on to flip to support masking, even calling for it to be imposed on school children as an extra step of caution in a July 2021 interview on CBS This Morning. Today, in the hearing, he said, quote, all that is in context of all the time. 4,000 to 5,000 people were dying a day. There was no study that was done on masks on kids, he admitted.
Yep. And look what happened. Look how many kids have problems because of that, because they had to wear those masks. It's true.
What?
Yep. Sorry, Frank, you don't have kids, so you don't know.
I could still,
Yeah, but
in.
There's a lot of issues that kids have.
So your kids have problems because of the masks?
Mine didn't, because they didn't wear any masks.
In the schools where they're supposed to?
They did not.
Oh, they weren't in school at the time or something?
No, they were, one was just born.
All right, they weren't in school yet.
I've talked about this before, though, but in my son's class, a lot of kids have issues, and they think it's because of the mask, because they're not picking up on the social cues of their facial expressions, and they miss that key part of their development. I don't know how true any of it is. I don't really know, but I do know it's an issue. I do know it's talked about quite often. But I also feel like it's okay if he got, it's okay if he got some things wrong. What I'm more interested in is what his involvement was in the gain of function research and what he knew going into it. And again, us talking about the lab leak and all this other jazz. I feel like that's the more important stuff that we need to get to with him. Not whether or not masks or washing your hands or any of that stuff was important.
I felt like masks, it's just common sense. If someone's sick and they're wearing a mask, you're probably better off than if they're not wearing the masks. Like surgeons wear masks so they don't contaminate whatever they're operating on. Masks provide some sort of safety. There was all kinds of experiments. You could look at literally, I'll give you the easiest one that was put out there, and you're going to laugh when I say it, but Bill Nye the Science Guy had a video. He goes, here's what wearing a mask does and what it doesn't do. There was a candle in front of him, and he goes, he blew out the candle. Then he took the mask, put it over his face, and he couldn't blow out the candle. He's like, it's going to stop most of your breath. It's going to stop particles. It's going to stop, if you're 6 feet away, it's just an extra prevention to help. If someone has COVID and they were standing 6 feet away from you and they coughed in your direction, would you rather they had a mask on or they didn't have a mask on? I would say most people would go, I'd feel better if they had a mask on, if they had COVID and they coughed towards me. Am I wrong?
Mm-mm. I'm ready to move on. Jay Sabs, you got anything?
Alex Jones. I'm sorry. Jay Sabs.
No, I'm good.
Cool.
All right. Alex Jones is having a full-on meltdown again, which this is how I like Alex Jones, is when he's having a fucking mental
The frogs
breakdown.
are gay. It's like, shut up, you idiot.
He says that the FBI was preparing to raid his studio, and that the authorities were threatening to lock the doors, that Jones has been targeted by the FBI, that he spent the night, he slept in his studio. He said, I've been targeted for abuse. I was duped by someone. Federal files in secret have claimed that I'm committing crimes. This was untrue. And he said on his show, this may be my final performance.
Oh, well.
And here it is.
At the end of the day, we're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children. Just take more calls. Go ahead and do the next person. At the end of the day,
I don't even know what that last bit
phony-
was.
I don't know what he's saying, but what a phony, friggin' ridiculous thing that was.
This was my favorite part when they go to the wide shot and there's just like two dudes and one's kind of looking at him like, "Are you okay, dude?"
What should we do something? What do we?
Yeah.
I don't get it. It doesn't. I don't understand. This guy. If this is his last show, is that what he said?
He said it might be his last show.
Oh no! What are we gonna do now without InfoWars?
I like InfoWars. You don't like InfoWars? It's good material in there every now and then.
Oh, to make fun of, sure.
Do you think he's like? Is this an act? I don't understand.
Listen to this cry right here. What is that?
I'm trying to be dramatic. It's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
What?
Just take more calls. Go ahead and do the next person. At the end of the day,
I don't know. I think he's had some problems.
He might have had some problems, but these people. Where did these people hate our children come from?
No, that's been a long time thing of his.
Just go away. God. Listens to this guy and takes him seriously.
I don't know. QAnon people. He used to have a bigger following than he does.
Yeah, then he went nuts and
then he went crazy. No, he's very, very crazy.
Yeah. Suspended license guy. Now, this guy, to just give a little backstory here, this is the guy who had a suspended license, and on the day of his court hearing, Zoom called into the judge from his car while he was driving. And the judge was like, all right, you're to turn yourself in now because you're driving with a suspended license and you're showing me this in court. And the guy's like, oh man, what? It's like, yeah, you're driving during your suspended license case. So, okay, so you're telling me there's a twist to this that nobody saw coming.
The twist is the guy was correct when he said, I don't have a suspended license. You gave it back to me 2 years ago. Turns out that's true. It was a court clerical error.
Oh, so he didn't have a suspended license.
So he didn't have a suspended license at all.
Okay.
So that video of him buzzing in, zooming in or whatever is one of the most watched, most viral videos of the year that everybody has seen. Could you believe this idiot? Look at what he did. And now we go to find out, oh, it's not true. And nobody's going to know. We'll here it is. People are going to see it and hear it. A fraction of people are going to hear that news compared to the amount of people that saw the story at first.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Now, how do you know this is the case? Where is this coming from?
So
that he didn't have a suspended license
because he raised the issue and he went through the whole court proceedings and everything, and the court wound up putting out a statement that they were like, "Oh yeah, sorry."
I'm sorry, my headphones fell out.
No, you're okay. No, the court admitted it. The court said, like, yeah, he challenged it and he was right.
All right, so yeah, so
They
he
were
didn't do
wrong.
anything wrong. Everybody called this guy an idiot, and it was not the case. He was in the right. Okay, good for him.
But
I'm glad he got it. But now he's like,
he's gonna walk into a 7-Eleven or Chinese takeout, and they're gonna be like, "Aren't you you're the guy? You're the license guy.
You're the idiot that drove to his suspended license hearing." But
and he's gonna be
like, did he put out a video?
No, actually, I had they're like, yeah, all right, whatever, guy.
Yeah, whatever you say now. But I saw the video.
Yeah.
The video said something different.
Hey, let's get suspended license guy a Coke on the house over here. Let's get him a drink.
Now, did he make a video during the I was right trial?
I don't know because it just was confirmed today.
Yeah.
And he didn't make the video that went viral to begin with. I don't know who put that out at first because it was everywhere. So I don't know who had it first. But
yeah, I mean, how does that? I mean, it was either the judge, him, or one of the lawyers, right? I mean, you can't. Those are the only people that were on that call. It looked like.
I guess, yeah, but some people, I think, that some of these things are streamed publicly.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Like on the courts,
site
or some shit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So he's so cavalierly like, oh, here, and people are like, let's look at the goal, and it turns out he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, I have my license. It's not suspended. I'm surprised he didn't say that in the video. The judge just was like,
well, he does, but in the stuff that most people saw, you don't see that part.
It gets like cut off because the judge rules right there. He's like, you should you got to turn yourself in. Blah blah blah. You have this amount of time to turn yourself into. You're going, this much jail time, etc. And we don't see that the guy. Apparently, you're saying he says no. My license is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what the hell was he going to trial? What was this case for? This hearing?
I don't know what the hearing for was exactly. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
That's weird. Oh, so hey, we all got it wrong. Suspended license guy. It wasn't suspended, so the guy's not an idiot. And hold your head get high, license guy.
Yeah.
Not an idiot. Everybody else is wrong. Good for you.
There you go. I have a low ticket sale theory here, Frankie C.
Okay, you're talking entertainment tickets, concert tickets, that kind of thing.
Talking a lot. Yeah, a lot of it.
Movie tickets?
A lot of things. Well, here's my little thing here. And I want to say it was Paul, but I could be wrong. But somebody commented to me about the Tyson fight, because we put a clip out, the Tyson fight, because his ulcers, they're moving it. Postponed or canceled. They haven't announced. They said on the 7th, they're going to announce what they're going to do next. But as of right now, there's no new date.
Nothing scheduled. Yeah.
So, and it was at where the Cowboys play, Texas Stadium, which is huge. AT&T Stadium, massive. People were saying that the ticket sales were low. Now, I think the money in a fight like that comes from Netflix. I don't think it really comes from ticket sales, but I also do think it's embarrassing if you're going to play to a half-empty room, no matter how friggin' big it is. You got to fill that place. Doesn't matter if those nosebleeds are $5. You pack as many people in there as you possibly can.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that in Vegas.
Yeah, it seems like a Vegas. I don't know why.
Like Dallas.
I guess it adds to the pageantry of it. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I guess whatever it is, maybe Netflix had some kind of weird deal or something. But I would be like, yeah, this is a Vegas Tyson. You kidding? Versus Jake, whatever the frig. Yeah.
Yeah, because Vegas has a football stadium now too.
Yeah.
They could have had it there, I guess.
Could have had it there. It would have been a big. That's a vacation destination. Yeah. That's a huge. That would have been the move. In my opinion.
So then, so there's so again, I don't know if there's low ticket sales there, but that was thrown at me. Then this is a much quieter one, but the Black Keys, great band. They had this whole tour. They announced this whole huge tour, new album, all this stuff. Black Keys arena act their entire career, or for the majority of their career. Then they cancel everything, and they give you the blanket statement of, we're going to figure out a more, and they said, after some European shows, we've decided to present this tour in a more intimate way. And at first I go, oh, that sounds like low ticket sales, but I don't really care. So I'm like, whatever. And then all the articles started to come out. They just were not selling tickets to their shows.
I mean, what kind of crowds were they expecting? I mean, hey, Black Keys
arenas.
Are they? Are they big enough to sell out arenas?
Are they maybe past their prime and maybe beyond that? Could be. Could very well be. Then the third instance is everybody's talking about Ben Affleck and J-Lo and their marriage being on the rocks. And then it was somebody, I want to say it was a comedian I saw that put it out there of like, hey, what if this was all just to cover up the fact that she couldn't sell a ticket? to her tour.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because she put out a movie, didn't that like bomb incredibly? That This Is Me
It
movie?
wasn't received well. Yeah, it wasn't really received all that.
And it cost like $20 million to make or something. I don't even know.
Yeah. And then they said that supposedly she had a Las Vegas residency deal on the table, and that got pulled. And then she had a tour planned, and then it got canceled. And they're saying it's because of the marriage. But this comedian, I think it was the one, I forget her name. She was on Chelsea lately all the time. Heather McDonald, maybe. I think it was her. But she was the one who was like, maybe they're throwing all that wedding stuff out there to soft blow the fact that she can't fucking sell a ticket anymore. And I don't know how true that is because I haven't seen any articles written about that. But I will say, I did look at tickets for J-Lo, not for me, though I'm not embarrassed, just telling the truth here. I did look at J-Lo tickets for her show here in New York, and there were plenty available.
Well, when was that show scheduled for?
That
If it's like a year from now, I could see.
No, soon. It was in June, I believe. And when I was looking, it had to be April or March or April. And I just remember thinking, there's a lot of tickets. I was like, oh, maybe this just went on sale? Because I'm like, there's a lot of tickets available for this.
Now, is your theory, like, is this these specific show theories, or is like, because there are shows that sell pretty good. You know, Madonna, I think, is still selling out.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Everything's
well,
going.
I'm not saying the government's poisoning our water, so we don't buy tickets to shows. But I'm saying either all these entities are just getting it wrong coincidentally at the same time, or are we seeing, is this signs of an economic slowdown where people are like, I'm not, or is it like people are just not? Because I will say this about the J-Lo tickets, they were ridiculously expensive.
Okay.
And I say that meaning, like, have we hit a threshold now of these ticket prices and fees and all this bullshit have been going up and up and up all these years, that maybe it's a combination of that and the little crunch in the economics of it all, of like, you know, I like J-Lo, but I'm not going to spend $150 to sit that high up in an arena. Because I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I would probably go to 6 more shows in a year if they were priced adequately. You know, like the amount of like concerts I really want to go see, it's not really, I'm paying a shit ton for Dave, but it's like, it's Dave.
Yeah, there aren't a huge amount of concerts that I mean, I'm not a huge concert guy in the you know, to begin with. There are a bunch of acts that I would go see, but you know, unless it's my favorites, you know, my top 10 people, I wouldn't bend over backwards to go see them.
But I feel like you, like, okay, for me, and I feel like you'd be the same, maybe not. I feel like most people would be the same. I'm shelling out double what I wanted to pay for Dave. So I think I'm paying $400 just for Cuddles and I to go, which is more than I wanted to pay. By the way, and it's not that many years ago, 7 years ago when my daughter was born, where we were buying tickets for $35 a piece. Decent seats for $35.
So are these like comparable seats, but now
these are a little better, but where the seats where I was going to be, the $35 seats now were like $125 or $145, where I was like, well, fuck it. I might as well just spend the extra $60, $120 and sit in the, I'm already spending more than I'm comfortable with. I might as well have a nicer fucking seat.
Yeah. Well, hey, remember, well, this was, I can't really compare. This was like the 90s or early 2000s when we saw Metallica at Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
$90, and we were on the floor leaning up against the stage.
Right.
And that was insane. And this was not just Metallica. This was Metallica was the closing act, but then it was Limp Bizkit, Deftones.
Did we see Limp Bizkit? Was that Limp Bizkit?
Limp Bizkit was there, yep. And what's it called? Linkin Park. It was Summer Sanitarium Tour.
Linkin Park was there too?
Yeah. I mean, you were there. I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna look this up. What was it called?
Yeah.
The Summer Sanitarium Tour?
Summer Sanitarium Tour. And the lead singer of the Deftones, I think his name is Chino.
Yeah.
Remember, he like crowd surfed. He landed right on us.
Yep.
He stood up right in front of us. We were like, oh, cool. He's singing right to us. And like he was standing on the guardrail, and all of a sudden he just fell on us. And I feel like I was the only one that caught him because all his weight was just right on me. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
And you even told, like, he was singing and you went, hey, nice watch. I remember you said that. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And then he just landed. I think that was the beginning of my back problems.
Fucking Chino is responsible.
Chino looking landed on me.
Okay, there was 2 Summer Sanitarium tours in 2000 and 2003.
Okay.
2000 was Korn, Kid Rock, Power Man 5000, System of a Down, and Karma to Burn.
That was not the one we saw.
So I'm guessing we went in 03 because that was Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Deftones, and Mudvayne.
Mudvayne, yes. Okay.
Yes, I remember Mudvayne because they have one song that I still love to this day, but I only like one of their songs.
But I remember Fred Durst, when he came out, we were in the front, so we didn't get this. He came out, he does his whole spiel, he does his couple songs, whatever, and then he like, it took him like 20 minutes. The band was just playing some looped whatever the hell they were playing, just jamming a little bit. And then it took Fred Durst like 20 minutes to get from where he was, and all of a sudden he appeared in the back of the arena on the other side, and we were like, "Oh, he's over there. Okay, great." That was not worth.
I remember that now. Yeah,
that was
not worth it.
We were all standing there for 20 minutes, like, where the hell did he go?
Mm.
And it took him forever to get over there. But that was an intense show. We stood there from like 12 in the afternoon till like midnight. Stood up. It was like 80 to 90 degrees out in the middle of summer. Giant stadium, which is wide open. There's no roof. We were cooking in the sun. Nobody wanted to move to go to the bathroom or go get something to drink or eat. So the security was filling up these, the water jugs that you'd put like on a water cooler, those big jugs, and they were just pouring water on the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yep.
And we were all just like baby birds. We were like,
just to get a little water. Yeah.
Just to get cooled off and to get a little water. We were all just like, it got to the point we were all just holding each other up. We were just leaning on each other.
Yeah.
It was a sweaty mess.
And the stench, the fucking stench.
That was a good stench going. But I have to admit, by the time Metallica came on, we were right up front. I was right up. I was leaning on the gate. There was like a barrier, then like 4 or 5 feet for like the security, and then the stage.
Yep.
And I was leaning on the barrier, and they were singing right there and playing right there. I couldn't see Lars because the stage was too high. I couldn't see over to see where Lars was playing, but I could see like the top of his drum set. But James, Kirk, Rob, the microphone was right there, and they were like 10 feet from me. But I remember when they played Fuel, especially Fuel, but for a bunch of others, the flames that shot up. All of a sudden, and everybody just thrown back from it. That was insane.
Yeah. I remember because I don't think I lasted 2 songs before I was like, okay, I have to go sit down. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Did you go? You left?
Yeah, I
didn't
left.
Even know you left.
We weren't together for most of Metallica's set.
All right.
But I do remember, and I was still a distance away, feeling the heat of the flames when they came out.
That was
just pretty crazy.
10 feet from the thing shooting the flame, and we just all got thrown back.
Yeah,
that was intense.
Nuts. It was nuts.
But great freaking show.
And I remember all the people trying to cut in front when Metallica finally came on. They were like trying to squeeze their way through the front, and that was
nope. I was like holding the rails, like, I'm not fucking moving, man. I waited here for 12 hours. I am not moving.
That was a good show. Why did we start talking about this concert? Oh, because
ticket sales.
Because I was saying, and I believe this to be true, you got a certain amount. If you're paying more to see the artist that you really want to see, the artist that you're like, oh, I'll go see that, you're not going to them anymore. So the casual, like, oh, I'll go see the Black Keys, or oh yeah, I'll go see J-Lo. Then you look and it's like, oh, it's $500 for me. No, forget it. Then I'm not going to go. I think that's happening a lot more.
That's possible. Yeah, the ticket prices have gone way up. That's true. And it's like, do I want to, especially if you're not like getting good seats, if you're like way in the back, you're like, I'm not going to pay $200 a ticket to sit way in the back where I could barely see what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass. But, you know, if it's a band you really love, you're going to go. So that you got to get the big following.
But even like there's like a couple of bands that have popped up like recently that I've started listening to that's like pretty good. Lawrence is one of them. Oh my God, I love this band, Lawrence.
You call them Larry because you know them so well.
No, I don't. I wish I could. But there's a guy and girl singer. The guy's voice is so great. And she's great too. They're both really good. There's 2 songs where each of them sing lead, and they're both super talented. And I'm like, I don't even know where they're playing, but I'm like, I don't want to spend like, this is a new act. I think they were like, their tickets were like $35 or $45.
Yeah.
It's like, that's $90 plus all the fees and bullshit. You're 120 in before you've even done anything. Then park in the car. You know, there's a whole, it's like, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go.
I'll sit home and watch reruns of Seinfeld.
Yeah. It's the truth. And I don't know if this is just old man syndrome creeping in again.
I think it's old man. I think it's a little bit of old man stuff.
Probably.
Yeah, we're like, that's a hassle. I got to get in the car, and then I got to drive and walk, and the crowds, and the prices, and you got to buy food and drinks. I mean, you complained a couple of weeks ago about going to the movies, and imagine going to a $200 a ticket concert where everything in the stadium is overpriced. You want $20 a beer or whatever the hell. I mean, that's insane.
It's crazy. I know you're right. It is old man syndrome, and I know inflation is the thing too, but I can't help but think, like, again, $35 to see Dave Matthews when he was in his prime. Like, we would go see show $15, $20 and you would be in.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be in the show and you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. Oh, it was open to everybody. And they would fill up the whole place, and then the concessions would be packed. It was a booming thing. Now it's like they just barely, you know, if they can get it to just barely filled, there's no demand for it. Let's say there's 30,000 tickets that need to sell. If they could get that to 30,000 people, great. It used to be that 100,000 people wanted to go to this show and only 30,000 can get in.
To get in, right.
Now it's 30,000 people want to go to it and 30,000 get in. It's like,
Well, that's the other thing. Like, you ever worry about not getting tickets now? There's so many sites. You might know you'll
Taylor Swift is hard to get still.
Yeah, you probably, yeah. But that's it. Name another artist where you're not like, oh, I can make that happen.
Well, you can't make that happen, you mean?
No, I'm saying, like, name another artist where you're like, oh, I'll find tickets. She's the only one who you might be like, I might not be able to get them.
Yeah, no, it's that's the truth. Yeah, everything else sells out in a second. I mean, she's the one that sells out in a second. Everything else, it's like, if I wanted to, I can get in.
It's the same thing with Broadway. I've been dying to go to a Broadway show, but it's like, I don't know when that became it. Dude, the one, Chris from The Sopranos, the dude who was just in the HBO show about the family, not Billions, but the Succession. Jeremy something. They were in a show where you're like in the round and they're like on a bar. It's like super intimate. I'm like, fuck, you know, I would really love to see that. And I was like, I'll spend $400 to go see that.
So what happened?
Couldn't do $700 for 2 tickets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, for 2 tickets. You go buy yourself one and go by yourself.
And then they're like, oh, we still have affordable tickets, $90 tickets. It was the 4 tickets in the corner, the worst seats in the corner. Like,
you have to be an usher.
You
have to hand out programs.
Yeah. And I'm like, how? Now, I could have gone if I really wanted to, but I'm like, how are any young people going to see a show like this?
Yeah, they're not probably.
You know, it's nuts.
I think we're in New York. They're getting the money probably.
Yeah, I guess so. But again, it comes down to, don't you want to reach the most amount of people possible?
That's the artist point of view, but the money makers are like, well, we just want to sell the tickets.
There were very few artists, and again, I kind of dabbled in this area of the business for a little while, but there are very few artists that actually will dictate a ticket price.
I like that.
There's a bunch of I noticed that comedians do it a lot. It's been my experience that comedians do it. I actually spoke to, who told me this? But they were like, I know my ticket price because I know that if people are paying more for it, they're going to be let down. But if they're paying this much for it, they will come and they will have a good time.
Yeah.
He's like, it was like $25. He's like, Mike, you cannot go over. And I remember there was a couple of times, one of the theaters out in the Hamptons where they were like, we really want to do this show, but we're worried because the artist, he won't let us put the tickets at a certain price. We can't make the money that we need to make on a show.
Yeah.
You know, and so they didn't do the show, but the guy stood by he's like, this is my ticket price. That's it.
Yeah. If I charge more, I feel guilty. I'm
Guilty,
not
yeah.
worth whatever they want to charge you.
Well, especially
and I
out
get
here,
that. I respect that.
especially out here in the Hamptons, where you'll see, well, sometimes you'll see an arena act in a small 150 seat theater. And it's like, okay, well, you need to pay $250 a ticket for that because you're seeing something amazing then.
Right.
But there are times where you're seeing a comic who you could see at any place on the island or in the city for $25, and now all of a sudden the ticket's $150.
Yeah,
like,
that doesn't add up.
different thing. We'll skip the racist graduation thing there because I don't want to do that. That's a developing story. Let's let that play out before we start talking about it.
All
Basically, it was this guy went on stage allegedly, and his daughter was graduating, and his daughter's coming across the stage, and there's all like the administrators there, like teachers, I guess. And there's one black teacher on the stage, and he goes up and pushes the black teacher off the stage. And you can faintly hear him saying, "Don't you dare touch my daughter." And people are saying in the comments that town is known for racism and blah, blah, blah.
Jeez.
It's so wild. I'm sure there'll be confirmation on it by the time Wednesday show rolls around. So we'll do it then. But I saw that and I was like, oh my God, is this? Because it's so ludicrous that you say to yourself, this has to be fake.
Yeah, and I immediately thought, all right, well, what else could it be? Was this particular teacher? I don't know. I
have a problem with it, with the student or whatever. Yeah,
but if it's racism, it's fucking terrible.
That's crazy.
That's terrible.
Oh,
what are we? That is how are you not? If you're that kid, you're totally completely ashamed of your dad for doing that.
Isn't that embarrassing?
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. I
don't want to think it's racism, so I'm going, all right, well, could it be something else? But if it's racism, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah. I feel like things are a little crazy right now because I said this, Cuddles and I were talking, the amount of anti-gay shit that I saw on Saturday. I was on the internet a lot on Saturday for whatever reason. But because it's June 1st, it's Pride Month. Oh, by the way, Frank told me this before the show started. He is going to watch nothing but gay pornography for the entire. He will not masturbate to anything else but gay pornography for the entire month of June, and that's our little part in supporting gay pride. Why don't you have your thumbs up? Remember, you said the whole thing. You were gonna do the whole thing.
You're an ass.
Sorry.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
But yeah, it was June 1st, so everybody starts, I guess, posting about Pride. The amount of people I saw being like, fuck you if you celebrate Pride.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
There was one guy who, I guess, he was holding a Pride flag. Again, I don't know where this was, but he was getting hosed down. And the woman wrote, it was a video that somebody put out, and she had retweeted it. And it was like, good for him. Like, enough of this shit already. And I'm like,
oh my God,
dude, I should have screenshotted it and I didn't because I kind of just brushed by it so quickly. But I was like, after a couple of minutes, I was like, wow, this is really
fucking assholes out there, man.
Why should people get angry that people have gay pride? And
how does that affect? Yeah, how does that? Why does that bother you?
Why does it bother you? I understand that you can have a little issue. All right, corporations, like, all 1 month it's Earth, and the next month it's gay pride. I get it, but they're businesses. What do you expect them to do? Like, yeah, they're not going to care about gay issues come July 1st, but that doesn't mean that it's not nice to have, this like
What is so
communal
bad about
thing
it?
of
I don't
support.
understand.
Right. I don't understand it
What
either.
is so bad? How does that affect you? I mean, what is your problem? Like with another person, the way they're living their life.
Yeah. I want to say,
if you're not into, like, let's say gay marriage, for example, if you're not into gay marriage, don't get gay married. I mean, it's pretty simple. If someone else is, then they have the right to do that. Fly on wide, each their own. Why does what someone else does affect, why do you take that personally? Like, oh, what do you,
let me ask you a question.
Don't understand the mean nature that people just, how riled up they get about something they don't agree with. It's like,
let me ask you a question. Is it possible to support gay marriage but not believe in marriage to begin with? Asking for a friend.
See, and there are people who, like, get married and they're miserable, but there are two. They did this on what was it, Family Guy or something? It was like two people can get married who hate each other. Two straight people can get married who hate each other, but two gay people who love each other can't get. It's like, grow up. This is 2024. Gay people, everybody has the same rights. That's it.
I can't find it now. The young lady's name was Army Brat, but there's like a million Army Brats. So, but I was just like,
I don't understand what the problem is with everybody gets the same rights. Well, that's like the blanket. That's it. There's no arguing that. We all have the same exact rights. You have the right to get married, and so do they. This person, we're all equal. That's it. There's no, but what about, no, we're all equal. We all start out with the same rights. If you commit a crime, you get some of those rights taken away. I understand. But outside of that, if you're breaking the law and you're
still run for president, though.
Apparently you can still run for president. But if you kill someone, yeah, you're gonna have some rights taken away. You haven't, that's what happens. But if everybody is on the same playing field, we're all operating with the same rules. That's what it is. You're no better than this person. They're no better than you. That's where we're at. That's what it should be. And to think that you are because you love someone of the opposite sex, that doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of nuts. It really is. The amount of anti-gay sentiment I saw on Saturday. I was expecting to see some of it. I was expecting to see. I think it's fair on the internet to expect backlash to anything.
Everything could be the most positive.
Back.
There was. I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but I saw the cutest puppy you've ever seen in your life. A little pug, a little face, little teeth, and coming out. The cutest thing in the world. And someone, that little rat is disgusting and gross. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it could be the cutest thing in the world, the funniest thing. So there's always going to be someone who hates it, no matter what.
Because the world is filled with some miserable. Some people
miserable people
love to be miserable.
I don't know what it is. Just get over yourself, man. Everybody has the right to be happy. That's all.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. But to what I was saying was,
what were we saying?
I expect there to be some flack about it because, like, I think the memes of, like, there's a Sopranos meme going around with Vito on the, spoiler alert, everybody. Vito on the Sopranos turns out to be gay. He's a mobster living in the closet. So they're like, corporations on June 1st, and it's Vito when he's in the gay club, and then corporations on July 1st, he's back in like a regular suit. Like, okay, funny, fair enough, nothing wrong with that. Not, I expect to see some of that, but the amount of, like, just flat out anti-gay stuff, like one after the next, I was like,
yeah,
holy shit.
For people that there are such short-sightedness in this country, in the world, it's like you're on the wrong side, and history is going to prove that. Your side is going to lose. You're the side of freedom and liberty and people equal rights always wins. or should always win. And that's the right way to go. I mean, I don't understand how people look at it and go, nah, I don't think how do you look at that and go, I'm going to go with the wrong side and I'm sticking to that.
But do you ever think like I think about this sometimes, because I even had this thought before Saturday, and then I quickly was like, no, we need it. You think sometimes that some of these things hurt more than they help. I do. I know you don't. I don't think you typically do. But like, for instance, Black History Month, right? You ask, what's his name about that? There's a famous clip out there. The guy who narrates everything.
Morgan Freeman.
Thank you. He hates it. He sees it as like a way to hold African-American people down, which I could actually sympathize with. I could empathize with that. I understand that. So I always kind of think from that sort of perspective of like, oh, is this causing more harm than good? And then I felt that way too about going into gay pride, because I was like, when I thought of that joke about you only masturbating to gay porn, I was like, oh, that's good. I'm going to use that. And then I was like, I wonder if we should do anything or whatever. I'm like, oh, people are going to be doing a lot of stuff. And I'm like, are we still helping? Or because I said to myself, we're at the point now where it's equal. I feel like it's recognized. We're good. Maybe we drop this special treatment, and then, we can, everything that will help acclimate it all together all at once. And then I saw all the stuff on Saturday. I was like, no, I don't think we're
not there yet.
As there as I thought we were.
It's just I don't like, why does that insult people? Like, it's Gay Pride Month. Okay. Why, if you're not gay, then you don't have to,
I mean,
why would you bash, why with the hate? What's with the hate?
I saw this other meme, the meme of Batman slapping?
Yeah.
So again, and this was like an anti-liberal thing where Robin is saying we got to donate to the Ukraine, and Batman is slapping, and he's like, we care about these gay rights now is all we care about. Which I get. It's funny. I get the humor behind it. I understand that that's a joke, and I see it and everything. But at the same time, I go back to that miserable thing of like, you're just miserable and you're unhappy with whatever good somebody is trying to do in the world.
Yeah. Someone's good focus on good does not detract from your life. Your life, your belief, whatever you have going on. Someone else is propping up of themselves or their achievements or their goals or their accomplishments or their pride. It doesn't take anything away from what why does it affect what you've got going on?
Right.
I mean, if anything, it should affect you positively to know that there are people who are celebrating something and are happy and are living their lives freely. That's a freedom. That's an expression of freedom. Gay pride, the parades, the celebrations. That's a joyous thing. That's something to be celebrated. This freedom. I mean, they're not everywhere. You can't do that everywhere. Some places it's illegal. You can't. This is something you might not be gay, but you could look at that and go, wow, that's what a country I live in, where people can have a parade celebrating this. This is great. Look at this freedom that we have in this country, that this is something that is upheld and celebrated. I think that's, look at it that way. Why do people look at it and go, oh, this is a disgrace? It's like, no, this is a freedom that we have in this country. That's what it should be looked at as.
Robin, in the live chat, I do say we should donate to Ukraine. I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but I'm donating to gay Ukrainians. So that's just, listen.
Your whole month's salary, I heard, right?
Not all heroes wear capes, Frank. No thanks necessary, but I have.
And you're only masturbating to gay Ukrainian videos.
I'll make that pledge today. I will only jerk off to gay Ukrainian porn.
That's a specific genre, but I'm sure it's out there.
I bet you if we went to the porn site right now and put that in,
something's coming up.
Do you think in the history of porn searches there has ever been no videos found? I don't know why.
Yes. We lose you? think we
Oh
lost
my
you.
God.
Oh, you're back. You're back. I mean, unless you spell it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Maybe.
I'm sure everything's out there.
I want to petition the porn companies to have it not say no videos found, but more like, what the fuck's wrong with
you? You serious? Question mark.
Do you really want us to search for this?
I'm gonna give you a second shot at that, buddy. Here's a new search bar for you. We're gonna give you another crack at that.
Listen, we can show you the results, but we want you to put the little puzzle piece, slide it over till it.
Make sure this is an actual person and not some, I don't know.
Oh shit, that's funny. Chris Warren says, "Oh my God, you're still on." Sorry, but that's outro music you're hearing now.
I said that an hour ago.
Yeah.
What are we still doing on?
I don't know what it is. The 2 hour. Well, I think you came in hot today, and you had a lot of things to say.
I had a lot going on today, especially with your, the bullshit merch.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
No, it's all good.
Anyway. So the merch is coming down, right? So
I blame you for most of the Monday shows. Most of the Monday shows going awry.
Awry?
Yeah, I feel like you come in hot over the weekend. And
what awry? No awry. I thought it went well. What happened?
Bourbon.
A bourbon, a rye, a whiskey. I think we went all right. Did the show go awry? We were okay. We're on track. We got through 11 freaking things that you had on the list.
I know, it was a lot. I thought we were cruising through pretty okay.
We even did the one you said we weren't going to do. We're going to skip the racist graduation, then you proceeded to go right into it.
Here's the story, though. They didn't show the video. I felt like that was journalistic of us.
Yeah, that was nice.
This must have taken 4 hours to put together. Jesus, Robin, that's good.
Good job.
Yo, meat potato salad.
We'll see you guys Wednesday.
Maybe we should go now. Go ahead.
Happy Pride. That's
Easy
serious.
now.